Thursday edition of your favorite program on television, Inside Nigeria. Inside Nigeria is a breakfast show where we discuss front headline news stories and current affairs, trending stories in Nigeria and beyond. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, your host on the program. As you can see, we have an array of newspapers up for review on this first segment of the show, starting with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Leadership's leading story today is on OBAZEE report. Is the main story, and of course the main story in other newspaper headlines today. OBAZEE report: CBN weighs big stick, sacks banks board. OBAZEE report: CBN weighs big stick, sacks banks boards. Cites compliance, corporate governance infractions. Union, Keystone, Polaris banks affected. Those are the headline stories today, and of course we have the picture of the Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu, flanked by the Executive Secretary, Lagos State Security Trust Fund (LSSTF), Dr. Abdulrazak Balogun, Chairman, Lagos State Security Trust Fund (LSSTF), the second Deduro Simieti, daughter of Femi Otedola Tolani Otedola, and Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the Deputy Governor Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, during the donation of 1 billion naira to the Lagos State Security Trust Fund (LSSTF) by Femi Otedola, who was represented by his daughter in Lagos yesterday. Of course, this is a trendy story from yesterday. Kudos to Femi Otedola. 11 drowned in Rivers boat mishap. 2023 Supreme Court decides Kano, 6 other appeals tomorrow. National identity number now compulsory for core members. Betta Edu released to report to EFCC daily. Tinubu appoints Hajj Commission Christian Pilgrim Board. The story is on page 4. Of course, you want to know who the boards are, or the board members are. And of course, on the business desk, on the business boss, we have Leadership Levogue. The announcement is coming out this Sunday, 14th January 2024. This Sunday. Levogue is an all-glossy color style magazine. Of course, it's a must-read this Sunday. Above the masthead of Leadership, Jay's Bank MD not arrested by EFCC official. NNPC gross profit by 278% to 2.54 trillion naira in 2022. That story takes us straight to the page 3 of the paper, where we have our stand. Our stand today is still on plateau violence. Still on plateau violence. From there, we move to the back page, being blunt with Muazu Eliza. Muazu Eliza is writing on feasting on vulnerable persons' funds. Of course, that is an allusion to the sleaze and the probe of the ongoing probe of the Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation Ministry. Of course, you want to find out what the column is all about, and continuation of headline stories as you log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we have The Punch, same headline story. CBN sacks Union, Polaris, Keystone Banks boards. Modibo over 25 bank chairmen, MDs, directors asked to resign. Interim boss likely today. CBN warns against panic withdrawals. We have the picture of the board members underneath the leading story. Marketers to meet Dangote over fuel supply. COVID-19 not over. 10,000 deaths recorded December. WHO. Police nab 3 over Nasarawa Hospital baby theft. Search for Mark, suspended Unica Don still in prison after 250 million naira bail. Supreme Court upholds Fintri's election, reserves judgment on Abia poll. Above the masthead, Edu, EFCC quizzes top ministry officials. ICPC recovers 50 billion naira. Naira plunges to 1,082 naira per dollar after CBN $2 billion repayment. Obasanjo's ex-minister Agunloye rearranged for $6 billion Mabila contract. For more, log on to the website of The Punch. We move over to The Guardian, same on the CBN's removal of banks boards. Anxiety as CBN sacks boards of Union, Keystone, Polaris banks. Supreme Court returns Finturi as Adamawa governor reserves judgment in Abia appeal. Austerity between call for sacrifice and leading by example. Third mainland bridge closure, commuters lament chaotic traffic, seek reprieve. Calls for expanded probe intensify as PEMSEC takes charge from Edu. Federal government disbursed 10 billion naira to 165 private accounts in 2022. Exit of multinationals death knell for local industry. Governors abdicate duties to third fund, Echono laments. Court remands ex-minister Agunloye in Kuje Center. Shippers kick as Mens imposes arbitrary $300 PSS on Nigeria-bound cargo. For more, these are the headline stories on The Guardian. For more, log on to the website of The Guardian. As we move over to this day's headline story is still on CBN sack. It says CBN sacks boards, management of 3 banks appoints new executives, silent on nationalization. Cites infraction of section 12C, 12F, 12G, 12H of Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act, BOFIA 2020, suggesting threats to financial stability, assures public of safety and security of depositors' funds. Aliyu appear in court to prosecute corruption cases if need be. That is also another story on this day. And above the masthead of this day, $10 donates 1 billion naira to Lagos Security Trust Fund, says donation to enhance security of residents. Billionaire insists best inheritance for his children. Next generation is safe, prosperous Lagos. Sanwo-Olu says donors gesture testimonial for others. Zenith Bank JEs debunk alleged arrest of their MDs by EFCC. The story continues on page 6 of the paper. For more, log on to the website of THISDAY. From THISDAY, we move over to Vanguard. Vanguard also with similar story. CBN sacks boards, management of Union, Keystone, Polaris banks, accuses them of banks and other financial institutions as infractions. Our special investigator asks federal government to take over banks. Suspension, PEMSEC takes over humanitarian ministry from Beta Edu. Economic reforms, NECA analyst experts align with World Bank on ease of inflation. And for sports, AFCON 2023 Super Eagles land in Abidjan. Above the masthead of Vanguard, Zenith JE's banks MDs not arrested by EFCC. Alleged $6 billion fraud, ex-power minister Agunloye docked, remanded in prison. Soyinka raises alarm. Tax waivers on imported mining equipment, orders underway. Federal government. Obi Edioga greatest casualties of 2023 electoral fraud from Labour Party. These are headline stories today on Vanguard. Today, Thursday, January 11, 2024. From Vanguard, we move over to the last paper we have on our menu, and that is The Nation. Nation has different story as its main cover story. EFCC quizzes 10 officials of humanitarian ministry. Agency profiles 12 firms awarded 3 billion naira consultancy contracts. Zenith JEs clear air. Government's youth-type palliative sharing ongoing. Zulum signs bonus 358.7 billion naira 2024 budget into law. Swords is Chevron check. Obaseki not backing me, painful, says Shaibu. Agba picks APC form. Shareholders lose out in Cabri's loan conversion. Christian pilgrims now for Rome, Greece. Umahi raises panels on roads. Why CBN sack Boards of Union, Keystone, Polaris banks. Special court for anti-graft cases not necessary, says ICPC. Articles 8, Boala praises Tinubu after Villa visit. These are headline stories today on The Nation. For more, log on to the website of The Nation newspaper. And this brings the first segment of the show to a close. My name is Winifred Ugbe, but don't forget the second segment of the program is ongoing. Stay tuned as we have our Thursday guest already in the house.
Leadership for God and country.
One segment of the show Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Ugbe, and of course I have sitting with me in the studio my Thursday guest Olamilekon Adefolarin. Thank you so much once again.
Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Yes, today's main headline stories is the same, talking about CBN wielding the big stick and sacking some boards of banks. The banks are Union, Keystone, Polaris banks. Of course, these banks have been in the eye of the storm considering OBAZEE, the investigators' report. So are you surprised with the development?
I think it's the development we've been waiting for to happen, in a sense that based on the activities of the ex-CBN governor, that these three banks were actually bought by him and his allies, in the sense that he used our national wealth to buy these banks for themselves. So at the end of the day, the investigator discovered that actually what many Nigerians have been talking about is what is real. So the bank executive just have to go. But the other aspect of it is it that the government is taking it over and they are going to sell it to another set of people, or this group of people that they appointed as to take over from the executive that have been sacked, will they be the people that will really take the bank to the level that many of the shareholders of that bank and the customers of the bank will be happy with? So that's another aspect of the discussion of this particular incident that happened. And for me, it's a lesson so that the current CBN governor will know that whatever is going to be doing, if he leaves the office, the new government that will come in place or the new CBN government that will come in place will always check his book, what he has done and what is left to be, and what he did not do rightly. So it's a lesson and quite inspiring for many of us who are looking at how we can ensure that the economy of Nigeria is well positioned through integrity and sacrifice that will make the economy grow, particularly the financial sector. You know, in the financial sector, we mentioned of stabilization of the financial sector. We also talk about the issue around how we can ensure that the banks are stable, meaning that stability in the banks means that the entire financial structure of Nigeria will be better. But if we have crook individual operating or heading bank, definitely there will be challenges.
Yes, thank you so much. Now, these coming with this action or decision taken by CBN and invariably the federal government, it makes everybody wonder that, oh, of a truth, the OBAZEE report was actually accepted by President, because when the report came out, many were of the opinion that this report is not going to be acted upon, it's not going to see the light of day. And now that the federal government, through via CBN, is actually acting on it, does that mean that most of the things unnetted by OBAZEE investigation was true?
It definitely it was true.
It leads credence to that, right?
It leads credence to that, and again, it shows. You know, the one thing that have exposed the intrigues around management of CBN is when money are taken out of the coffer of the city, particularly the foreign currency, and being used for something that did not add anything to the economy. And one of them is the buying of banks. You know, one of the banks, federal government spent 250 billion to make sure that they bring these banks back. Polaris. Now they now sold it for 50 billion. That one, it was a big question on the people who manage it.
You begin to wonder, what was Emefiele really actually taking up? You go through the reports of OBAZEE and you are aghast at what it was unnetted. And you begin to wonder, what was he actually thinking of?
No, he was thinking interest. He was thinking to ensure that his associates benefit from him being in position. That's what really happened. And
not just in banks only, selling of banks to acquiring banks for himself and his cronies. You talk about the money, the fixing Nigeria's money in some of the banks.
No, the investigation has layers of issues.
Yes.
This is just one of it.
That's
we have not gone to the forex aspect. Yes. We have not gone to the money given to farmers. We have not got to the level of money given to individual manufacturing sector. That one is even worse. Throughout the 8 years or 9 years of manufacturing sector of Nigeria, certain members of this group are collecting money. We are collecting money from government, forex for free. And they will still come back and be complaining that there is challenge of forex. And you'll be asking, but what about the one? There was a time that CBN gave 7% digit interest to all these manufacturing associations of Nigeria, to the point that they were even agitating they should bring it down to 5%. And they don't. CBN gave them money. We have not gotten to the one about the power sector, where over 37 trillion naira was spent. We are still coming to that. The farmer's own is still there. Other aspects, an individual that even went to CBN to go and be collecting money. The investigation revealed several of these malpractices that happened within that period that Emefiele was the S-man of CBN. So we are just waiting for others to be revealed. This is just one of all the excesses of the Emefiele and CBN government.
No, the organization or the individual person that was supposed to be playing an oversight function of CBN, of course, rests squarely on the president. The
president and the National Assembly.
And the National Assembly. No, talking about the president, of course, his boss was a former president, Muhammadu Buhari. How come Buhari, was he so bamboozled with all the figures that he couldn't actually see, or, you know, was not in the know of what Emefiele was up to?
For me, what I discovered was that the president was not having people who really want
because to what I'm saying, we also have a report from OBAZEE that even the Naira redesign was not actually approved by President Buhari, that it was mooted by Sabiu.
Yes, we heard that one. But one thing about Sabiu Tunde, the PA to the president, I think it was, I said it on this platform, it could be a suggestion. What the OBAZEE did not get was a written document that showed that the president really approved it. But if you look, after,
there could ought to have been a written
definitely that's where
something of
that nature, because one thing we must also understand, when they were about to launch that particular exercise, it was the president that launched Naira redesign. The new currency that we printed, it was the president that launched it. In Naira, it was the president that launched it. So that's why I was like, does it really mean that the president was not aware of it, or was not in the know of it, or was not interested in it? He was interested in it, but what we now understand is that there was no written document that would have backed it up, like the OBAZEE, or maybe they have it. They refused to release it to the OBAZEE investigative team, because there could be something that could also be more damaging in that letter of approval that they may not want OBAZEE to know about. Because one of the issues will be how much that will be spent for that Naira redesigning and reprinting. You remember that the Nigerian Printing Company, which is a subsidiary of CBN, refused to take up that activity, and that's why they sublet it to an international printing organization outside the country, in UK, to print that Naira redesigning for us. That's one. Then Naira to also have that same issue because of the ICT, whereby they now give it to a company outside the shore of Nigeria, even outside the shore of Africa, even outside the shore of Europe. They went to one island to go and get the company to do Naira platform for us. So those are the questions that goes with how much was used in terms of procurement in getting some of these things done.
Now these banks, now that have been the boards have been sacked and the new management are appointed, are they not starting on from the position of disadvantage given the share capital of these banks? So what is now needed to show off their capital or make it vibrant? Definitely
the capitals are there. The banks, they have their assets, they have their customers. NGIC is still there to ensure that this is still in place. The only thing, for the immediate term, within the next 4 or 5 months, the banks will be shaking. because some people may want to go and withdraw their share capitals from them. But the new management that is coming is to give stability, to give a new face of integrity. Because what the CBN governor, from what he has said so far, be able to pick up was that the other members or the other board members are taking dictation from the owners of the bank, who is the Emefiele and his gang.
They are taking
dictation. That means they are taking approval, whatever they are going to be doing from the person that owns it, which is Emefiele and his people. So now with this new board, the new management in place now, nobody will take in any approval or anything from the former owner. That is what he has done. So that he has brought a new face of integrity and confidence boosting to customer of the bank as well as shareholders of the bank. That's why they changed the top management. But we just hope that these ones too will not become a stooges under Cardoso himself, because we must be very careful the kind of people he's bringing in. Because for me, I'm trying to check each of these guys' personality, where have they worked, which of the banks have they worked before, which area of the financial sector in Nigeria have they even put their practice. Because we need to begin to check background of people we are bringing to this kind of, are they also friends? Because all these guys that we are seeing, they could be friends to even those ones that have been disposed. Because at the end of the day, you see that it's a party thing that we normally talk about government.
So what happens now with this appointment? It means the federal government or CBN, through CBN, is actually in control of this bank. So when is CBN going to let go of these banks?
Definitely, we may be, just like what happened in the past during this Sanusi Lamido period, where we also have this kind of scenario happen with Intercontinental Bank, now became Access Bank. It took some time after I removed those board member before the government announced, okay, we want to pull this out. Okay, interested partners come and buy. And it led to mergers of some banks. So what I'm seeing in this is that because of the new capitalization that the government is also thinking, these three banks will become one at the end of the day. Somebody else from another bank may absorb them, or two may have come together. The other one could be taken by somebody else. So this is what I'm forecasting or seeing or projecting that could happen. Because as it stands, right, the three of them are not that too well when it comes to capitalization. They may come together and become one, or the government may decide to sell the three of them to different banks that could take them up. Because capitalization, as we are talking about now, the government is serious about it, and the CBN is taking it very seriously. Although the framework to ensure that it comes to pass is what they are still working on.
Thank you so much. That's a nice one there. Thank you. And talking about still on developing story on Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. The Nation has a story as it's been covered. EFCC quizzes 10 officials of Humanitarian Ministry. Now I want to find that agency profiles 12 firms awarded 3 billion naira consultancy contracts, and that is where there's an indictment on also a star minister in this ministry, that is Tunji Uju. So what are we expecting? Because I saw a story, trending story, that some northern youths are threatening protests that he too should also be suspended.
It's expected now. It's expected because for me, when I started analyzing this issue, I removed the personality. I look at each of the organization that is involved, and I quickly look when this one particular lady, Dr. Betty, came up and said they are going to carry out analysis and verification of the 11 million households, and contract will be awarded to people to go and verify. And when the contract was awarded, then in 1 month, these 12 companies said, 11 million. And they said they are now about 35 million, 32 million households. And I was like, this woman has failed.
No, they identified 11 million. According to report.
According to report, that is
she was proposing another 5.2 billion naira to identify more homes.
Look at it this way. In the Buhari government, it was 2 million homes they were giving for 5,000 naira. Okay. So as a result of the social register issue, which state governors now say no, the social register stuff supposed to be with them. They are the ones that are supposed to produce the social register document. Now, then that's okay. State government produce your social register document. Then they now say they have gotten about 10 to 11 million people. Now then that's okay. Let us have a verification exercise to be conducted on those documents, and that's why they sent these 12 companies to go and do that. Then these 12 companies said they done it. They did it in 1 month. And I was like, even INEC have not registered entire Nigerian in 1 month. So how can you people done a verification of 11 people in 11 million people? So exactly, I said no, this can't happen. There is something fishy around this particular issue. Then this same lady says it's going to give 50,000 to three market in the entire 109 senatorial district, and I was like, how will that happen? And I was one of those people that said, okay, let us have the names of the market across Nigeria. Publish the names of the market.
Market, I don't understand. Marketers, okay.
Marketers,
Each
traders.
Okay.
Each woman in a market.
Yes.
They selected three market in each senatorial district.
Yes.
Like Abuja now has one senatorial. They will select 3 markets in Abuja, and they will pick Wuse, Gariki. They will now pick some women in the market and give them 50,000. You know, they did the launch in a villa. Then I was like, this is another fraud. 109 markets in Nigeria that we refuse to publish their names, that we don't know where the market are. Then before you know it, James Bond, they said they have started sharing the money. That is where the issue of the Kogi 60 million is expanded on giving to women, then using 30 million for themselves as escorts and miscellaneous spending, that they fly plane from Abuja to Kogi. That is where airport, and that's where all the issue arises. And I was like, this woman has just shot herself in the foot. These are the excesses that we knew in the previous government also did. Through the one that Jonathan did when it comes to transformation agenda, that we discovered that people money were Shopee and the rest of these are all the
Jonathan's on with that Shopee was even more transparent, because we had the places where these funds were actually channeled to, but not on to individual. Not because we have hospitals, we have especially in terms of maternal mortality.
Exactly.
You know how it was done for pregnant women was that when you come for
they will give you money. They will dash you some money,
and it's registered. You know, that was something I followed up. And we also had Shopee buses. Buses were procured then to alleviate.
But there is also what they did in terms of giving money to fashion designer, tailor, mechanic. Those ones to also have their own problem. Okay. So what I'm trying to point out is that when this lady also bring this kind of idea, I was like, this is just a waste of government resources, and that's what we are seeing. Because
now what is going to happen? Because J. Jensen is about to provide the 12 firms of which Tunje Ujo, the Minister of Interior, is also part of. So what is going to happen at the end of it? Because he has already distanced himself from me that years back he actually stepped down from even while he was contesting for House of seat for House of Representatives. Now what are we going to have? Because we have a situation whereby we have political appointees in conflict of interest in cases like this. Like we saw with Babachilawa.
Definitely SGF. What will happen is that the AFC will have to scrutinize is the company CAC registration, the profile of the company in terms of who and who. If you say he has resigned, definitely CAC will provide the document of his resignation from that company. But if he is found wanting that he has not really resigned, but even though if he resigned, but he's using his influence as a minister to now win contract for his company, that's another issue. And that I know the government of the day, including President Tinubu, may not want to take it easy with him, because they will definitely want to use that one to because as far as this issue is concerned, it has brought an issue of integrity.
But another thing a guest also pointed out was that these agency, these 12 firms that were awarded the contract, and of course they expected that BPP would do the was it published?
It was not published. You know, the issue about this company is that if you have understood all these politicians, particularly those ones that were appointed as a result of their contribution to politics, election of President Tinubu, they already have these people in place. These companies are not that they are ghosts, they are dead, they registered, they have their CAC, but they may not have the structure to carry out some of these things that they wanted to do. So it's an opportunity to just channel money to them as a means of compensation, as a means of patronage. Or you have done well, this is the way you guys can also be part of this government and eat. And that's what really happened. So the Tunji Ojo company, the other backstory behind it is that his personal aid, people that served with him when he was National Assembly, they are the guys controlling, they are the guys that also become members of the Betty Edu group that were also appointed into some agencies. So they were the one that, like the person that was coordinating this verification exercise was a staff with Tunji Ojo when he was a House of Reps member. So what do you expect? And you also remember this same Tunji Ojo asked issue in National Assembly during the NDDC investigation. It was the one that was put pressure on to that he now said, I'm stepping down. Before the other guy now took over, the other House of Reps member now took over, the one that was shouting, off your mic, honorable minister. You remember?
Yes.
So if Nigerians could recall all these incidents that because I watched the live TV when Tunji Ojo dropped and said, I'm stepping down, I'm stepping aside. And many of us now remember, IBB stepped aside in 1997. I'm stepping aside as chairman. You didn't even mention that he's stepping aside. That you just say, I'm stepping aside so that this investigation on NDC can continue. And that's why we have Professor, the professor that was
no
fainting.
wonder we saw some reports that he himself has also been incriminated before. So many are not expressing support.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, what are we going to have? Because President Bola Tinubu, who has already shown that he's not going to leave any stone unturned in fighting corruption to a standstill by suspending the star, face of the star, talking about Betty of his administration. Will you also allow Tunji Ojo to go scot-free?
For me, it will be the best for him to allow Tunji Ojo to also go. Because if he goes, then people who have lost confidence in anti-corruption fighting in Nigeria, especially from the president angle, will now say, okay, this president is not ready. Because one thing about Tinubu was that Tinubu never disclosed how he's going to fight corruption to anybody when he took over power. Maybe this could be his sophisticated means whereby I will start with my people. Anyone of them found wanting out, throw him out, let Nigeria tear them. And that's what the president have done. If you can see the way Nigerians have been tearing Betty Edu, even tearing Tunji Ojo. But the one thing I want is Nigerians should not just tear them. Let the court sanction them. That will be the best.
What about the civil servants that aid and abet politicians to circumvent the system?
For me, it's now time for NFC and TUC to begin to think and rethink their stance when government want to punish civil servants.
Because we have the DFA that helped Halima Shehu to transfer
all the money. Billion. He has retired. He's no more in the service. So his own punishment will even be more severe.
Instructively, we were told even at the beginning that Halima Shehu had already reappointed him as SA.
Definitely, so that they can cover up some of the traces of their activities.
What they've been doing.
So for me, the thing is that now those civil servants now, many people have called for a reform in our civil servant, and when they call for it, many people are talking about reducing the cost of governance by reducing the number. No, that is not the only thing we need. We also need to rethink and reform the integrity and character of people who are even coming to the civil service. I've said it on different forums that most times when we talk about corruption in Nigeria, our eyes is on the politicians. But the key issue, the key corrupt individual are the civil servants.
Yes.
They do it softly. They eat like a rat in the house. They'll be eating things small.
I always maintain, they are the ones that show politicians how to circumvent the system.
Because they understand the law.
They understand the law.
Particularly the Fiscal Responsibility Act. They know how to boycott it. A lot of people have been quoting certain aspects of the law, like one of our FCCPC EVC that was asked to go. Yes. A lot of people are now quoting the law that is against him going. But we know that at the end of the day,
it's the president that has
the veto power to decide on who to fire or not to fire, even though the man has really tried. But what we are trying to point out is that when we are looking at corruption in the Nigerian system, we should not focus on just one aspect. Let us focus on the entire system. The complexity of the system, who the civil servant is always part of, we must look at it. Because when we talk about budget padding, it is from there.
It is on civil servants, yes. Thank you so much. These are another trending story or a picture that broke the internet yesterday was the visit of Daniel Bola, who is Atiku president, former Vice President Abubakar Atiku's SA. Of course, he made a visit to the villa yesterday, and many people have been. It has generated a lot of hues and cries all over the internet, with many people saying that politicians, they are just what their stomach is after.
For me, it's not new because Abuala has been an APC person. He's a grassroots CPC.
But he left and became defected to PDP and became Atiku's.
I would say he left just like Doyo Kupo say he resigned from Labour Party because of ideological differences. Bola left because of conflict of interest within the APC, if you remember, because appointment didn't get to him at that point in time. And he was one of the forerunners of APC that really brought most of the youth into APC.
Yes, it's politicians. Are they still on ideology? Because if you talk about ideology, you see a politician who will leave his party where he was a bona fide member, and if he doesn't favor him, he moves to the other parties, and if that doesn't work back, he moves back. So what is actually happening? This is a picture that broke the internet and even to this morning.
If you break down the definition of ideology doesn't just say about system. It also talk about how that system can sustain itself. So in the regards of Nigerian politicians, that system is how to sustain your stomach infrastructure.
Yes.
So that's what ideology to them means. Yes. So they want to sustain that. This guy has been in the cold. Nothing is happening. His principal has been on the broken level. So what do you expect him to do? He has said all manner of things. He has insulted everybody in the APC. But he has to go back to where it's coming from, which is the CPC part of APC. And that's where he comes from. So you have to go back. And it could be an opportunity for him, either at the state level or at the national level. Including, they say, even Reno may also come back.
No, Reno ported long time ago.
But not physically that many people can.
No, he has been supporting APC.
They are welcome.
Even before the Supreme Court.
The APC will definitely welcome them into their fold. But the thing
just like it welcomed Femi Fani-Kayode.
They welcome them into their fold. But the moment their interests are not being carried along, they will go away.
Is that why I talked about ideology? If Nigerians politicians still practice ideology.
It's a good one for him because he has to pay his own bill because he has been in London since he has come back. Maybe things are not too working for him. Also, he's also looking for maybe a juicy contract that will help him to survive. And that's how Nigerian politicians live. But me, I don't see him as a politician. I see him as someone that is a bit of technocrat. But because of what the position the article gave him as a spokesman, that many people now think he's not a politician per se. He's a technocrat who understands how system can work. But because if you don't do that politicking around your technocrat skills, you may not get that limelight that people will definitely want to know you. Just like those of us that are doing policy analysis on radio and TV. Nobody knows us. But the moment one of us get appointment and become so politically inclined to political parties, they begin to know Adefolari or no one other person across the board.
Yeah, thank you so much. They will definitely do that. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program, Adefolari Olamileko. And my name is Winifred Ugwebo. This is where we end today's Inside Nigeria breakfast show on Leadership Television. I look forward to seeing you same time, same station tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.